In this episode, we're going to be talking about Drake, side boss in the Alpine realm. This boss is pretty different because it's a big monster as opposed to just like the normal sized mini boss, kind of like the humanoid type monsters. I don't think they have too many of these type of bosses in the game, where like the traditional God of War, big monster enemies. So this one was interesting. So you can see, it looks like I already have some sort of strategy at this point. This is definitely not the beginning of my attempts, maybe multiple attempts. You see me just dying there. Though this one is one of my earlier clips, but definitely it's not the first few ones because I didn't start clipping it until I'm about halfway through. I've been thinking a lot about how to make that funny. I kind of like how it's getting kicked out, but later when I get the winning attempt, I settled down with trying to find the timing to get a realm shift, perfect dodge there. I figured it's more efficient because you're actually using it as part of the strategy to trigger the blessing of Runic early on, and that'll give us time while fighting him for the Runic to cool down and get more shots in. So yeah, but yeah, all my attempts, I tried a bunch of things. I hope I got them in the clip here. Some of the funny beginning, because when he bumps you, it doesn't actually do any damage, right? So I guess the devs thought it was unfair for you to just stand there, and then the Drake will just start rushing in and you go flying. As much as I love the animation of the visual of Kratos just flying, getting what do you call that? Rushed by a giant monster. I opted out with I guess the more efficient one, which is triggering a realm shift and dumping my magic on you. Okay. So what am I doing here? I thought I clipped this out. This part is still here. Did I clip it? Did I delete the wrong section? Let's see. Oh, maybe it's clipping enough. But yeah, so what I was doing there, I was taking a bunch of screenshots using photo mode while Kratos is up in the air. And that last bit was me just trying to capture a shot where Kratos is diving in head first towards the Drake. I got a good shot, but it's not what I wanted because the photo mode kind of restricts you to a certain distance where you can go, like, take the camera away from Kratos. You can only go so far, so it didn't work out the way I wanted. But I did get a good couple of good shots. So here we are, however many number of attempts. So what I tried to do here is kind of like get the timing down first for the movements, right? So that one was pretty easy, but he has a variation of that. I think if you that fucking tail. Yeah, for the variation that couldn't find the timing down, I think it's supposed to be like the Drake charging at you. But due to the fact that I'm right in front of him, it looks exactly the same as his other side swipe. But the wind up, there's very subtle differences. I don't even know what it is specifically. I know for sure that Freya will shout out sometimes. I think it's gonna swing or whatever. But then the difference in timing is just like maybe like a hair off, like a split second off. So that when I go and dodge it, I'm dodging it too soon, right? So I never really got it down. The timing down, I didn't really get the timing down by the end. I think I'll just bail out by Kratos goes flying again. I think I would just bail by like double tapping the circles to do the roll, the dodge roll, instead of just oh, that's pretty slow. Yeah, dodge roll instead of just like one dodge, one step dodge. Okay, so what are we doing? So where are we now? Okay, so oh yeah, so that thing too. I started doing the dashing and then the leap forward and canceling it. It's just something to do because it's you're gonna run through the whole map to open that door. So instead of just running straight up, I was practicing that timing. It helps a lot, like trying to close the distance, especially if it's like a big monster like this. You can't do the Hyperion grapple. Yeah, so I've been practicing that, like dive and then canceling it with a dash forward. Oh, this is the part where I was playing around. Because see, let's see if it's in the clip. Seems like this is the first time I've tried it. But yeah, so putting the, I don't even know if it has an effect, but doing the, I don't know what it's called, like stabbing your blades at the door and triggering the explosion. There were a couple instances where if you time it just enough, or just right, Drake will be coming out with a burn status right away. I managed to get it a couple of times just by luck when I tried to recreate it on purpose. I wasn't getting the timing down. And that's actually how I discovered that if you attack him during that running animation, Drake won't bump you, like won't what's the term? Like won't ram into you and send you flying. You're just gonna stand there. But however, yeah, you can still get damage from the last part of the charge, and that attack is what I'm gonna be using at the end to start the sequence, the attack sequence for my eventual strategy for the victory attempt. Okay, so where are we? We just got swiped there, so we're resetting. Try again. I don't like this. Like, you should just start right away. It's so annoying. Whatever. Right, so I'm trying the flame explosion again. See? I'm just standing there, right? Because I'm assuming because the explosion damaged him. So I just stood there. But then at the end, he... Oh, okay, so this is the one. Okay, so yeah, let me just finish that. So at the end, he still does one actual attack, which is pretty strong. You can get one hit, but it give like... You end up with like 5% health. So that's the part that I'll be dodging at the end to get the initial runic attack, the blessing for runic, and then start dumping all my runic attacks. Now this is the section where I I learned or figured out that yeah, holding the heavy attack just lets you spam. See, you just hold it, kind of like the same thing for the axe if you hold the R1. But when I actually started hitting Drake, the timing is different. So it was much faster if you're not hitting anything, but when you're actually hitting an enemy, there's a bit of a delay. So it wasn't as smooth as I was planning. So here, start off Gifted Strain after you get bucked off by Drake. Give the relic, and then at the same time, I'm gonna use what is it? Runic summon? Is that a summon from Freya? I don't know what it's called, but she's using what's that term? The Bifrost? Is it Bifrost? I think it's Bifrost. Yeah, her attack where she swings her sword, and then it's good because you get 2-3 stuns, which interrupts the enemies. That move, see, you can see her. Yeah, so there's 2 quick ones and then 1 big one at the end. Right. There you go, you got the good timing. Still did it even without the runic attack or the runic blessing. dumping all the... Yeah, I see you get the runic routine labor there for doing all the... dumping all your runic attacks back to back. But it wasn't working out. It didn't work out at the end because it's not guaranteed to stun him, at least some of the attacks. That's why I decided to just, yeah, not dump everything all at once and leave a little bit of gap. I would do 2 at a time per runic blessing because it comes out, it triggers pretty often because I do a lot of the perfect dodge, right? So I'm not worried about, you know, trying to fit all of it in one proc. I don't even know. Is it like 8 seconds, 9 seconds to fit all of it? So the problem was after you deploy one, after you trigger one, or not trigger, but like use one of the runic attacks, sometimes Drake would initiate an attack in between the 2 runic attacks. And even though I'm mid animation for the second runic attack, I still get the damage from being bitten or like swiped by his tusks. So I eventually dropped that and then kind of like space out the runic attacks. So here I started using the shield. Before I was trying to be funny, trying to block it and then bailing at the end. But then this one I stuck with it. Using a different shield. This is the one where you can hold it and it's gonna charge. I didn't use it in my first playthrough. The reason I'm trying it out is because I only really use the shield to what do you call that? To trigger an explosion. So because I have a perk from the armor where if there's a status effect on the enemy and then you shield bash them, creates an explosion. So the reason why I switched shields because I noticed that this one is if you do a shield bash, it's kind of an area effect damage. So there's a chance for you to hit multiple enemies instead of just a 1-to-1, even without any effect at all. Right? So holding it like that charges it, while the other one, the parry, what do you call that? The almond shaped one. I don't know the names. But yeah, the almond shaped ones. The almond shaped shield. It only charges the shield bash if you get a perfect parry. Right? So normal parry, I don't even think it charges it. So it has to be the perfect timing, like super last second. And then that's gonna trigger it. While this one, if you just hold it, it's kind of the opposite. If you hold it, it'll charge, but if you get damaged while holding it, it's gonna absorb it, but takes away from the charge. But I don't really use it for that. I just use it for the shield bash, like I said, because it has a wider range compared to the other one. Okay, so back to the fight. You can see there, I managed to dump two of my runic attacks from the blades. And then now I trigger the second one. That's when I would use the one. See, that's what I mean. See, I was mid animation. He got interrupted from the first runic, but then the second one, when the second one started, I couldn't cancel my heavy runic attack from the axe. So you get damage and I had to reset. Now when doing that, I'm getting a little impatient. This one wasn't, this one was easy to time though, once I figured that out. Okay. Get into the tail, dodge that, nope. Go flying. But yeah, so splitting up, spacing out, even if it's just like 2 and 2. I think even at the end, I would, after the 2 and 2 split of the runic attack, I even split the heavy and light and heavy from the same weapon, just to make sure I don't get hit, right? So, where are we now? However many attempts this is, I don't even know. But yeah, so okay, so it seems like we're consistently doing this one now, so that's a good sign. That's closer to the end. Trigger the blessing, dodge it. right? So that's what I'm talking about, like spacing out in between the same category. So it triggers, so you do the axe, drop the second axe, and then just bump him. Okay, so I see. Yeah, so let's talk about this one. So what I'm trying to do generally is, so after I dump my runic attack, that's when I'll use the relic for extra strength for melee attacks. So I mainly use two combos here. That one, the 3-hit heavy, with heavy, 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 right? And then at the end of that one, okay, so we're here. We trigger the buff for getting the not getting hit and getting combo, keeping a combo up. Oh fuck, that's the move. Okay, so he does that about midway through the fight, where he swipes you one way, like from my perspective, right to left, and then he comes back left to right, which always gets me. But going back to the attack pattern, so what I'm trying to do, get my runics in, get the buff from the relic. My main, see, got hurt there mid attack. My two main combos are the 3 heavy, and then the dash cancel it towards that dashing attack, and then holding the R1 button for the, I don't know what it's called, but you know what it is, like where he just holds the blades, he doesn't throw them with the chains. So yeah, I just keep going back and forth with those. So a bunch of heavy attacks, cancel that if there's an opening, get a bunch of hits from the short attacks by holding R1, and then reset whenever there's an opportunity to get a full combo in for the heavy, because it's risky. You gotta make sure you know when to drop the heavy, because once you're committed to that the final attack, you get stuck in there, so you can't cancel anymore. So it's one of those things you need to practice. Okay, I think this is the winning in what do you call that, winning attempt. So I want to talk about, I guess I just want to lay out the strategy here. So coming in, we got the blessing of the runic trigger from the initial rush or the initial charge. This is the 2 runic attacks for the axe. We already did the first batch of runic for the blades earlier, so we're done with our runics. We already triggered the relic for strength buff earlier, so now it's just a matter of like going through the cycle of the heavy combo and then the light combo using the hold R1. Oh, I should learn the move. I need to check what the name was. But yeah, so the reason I'm doing the holding the R1 for multiple moves is to build up immolation and apply the burn. And then I would switch to the axe. You just saw there, he was gonna do the, when he lifts both of his front legs, he's gonna do a big slam. And I'm always late for like dodging it, rolling out of the way. So I just ended up using my rage meter to absorb that damage. Instead of using it for attack, I was using it as a defensive move. So now we just continue. My 2 light attacks from light runic attacks from the blades and axe cooled down at this point, so I dumped them. And then now I got the full immolation bar and applied it to the blades, and then he goes burning. I don't know if there's a finisher. I don't remember the finisher QTE, but you know, we're just too good. We're just too good for Drake, so he's dead. But yeah, so that's the Drake fight. It was pretty fun. I like how it's like the traditional God of War boss, where it's just the scale is huge compared to the other normal bosses or even the normal encounters. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, I wish they had a little bit more of those type of bosses. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's one more where you get to fight a Drake in Vanaheim. So I'll probably try to no damage that, depending how I feel, if I don't get burned out from the mini bosses. So that's my breakdown of the no damage fight against Drake, the imprisoned Drake, for however many long years. We don't know. It's a mystery. We set him free, and then we kill him, which makes sense. That's what we do. We kill in self-defense, as Kratos says. I wasn't really gonna be doing commentary for the mini bosses, but I'm treating it as practice so that I got a little bit more reps before I record commentary on the main story bosses. Because I noticed when I was recording Thor, I was stumbling a little bit, and it turned more into like a scripted video, kind of like than the free flow conversational type thing that I'm trying to do. So make sure you leave a comment down below if you have any questions. Thank you for watching. And if you want to support the channel, make sure to remember to click on these nuts.